discussion on the way as Bart Scott joins us. But we start with the Mets, who completed the 4-game sweep of the Diamondbacks. That they did. The home run apple got some good use today as the Mets hit 6 homers in the 11-1 win, the most they've ever hit in a home game. They've outscored Arizona 26-4 in the series as the starting pitching was also locked down. That included a solid outing from Marcus Stroman today, who only gave up 1 run in just over 6 innings.
It's baseball, man. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Did a lot in between starts to kind of get my motion where I needed to get to mechanically, and thought Neto played a great game calling behind the plate. Defense played incredible, and obviously we swung the bats from pitch 1, so just a complete team win.
And here's a look at the updated wild card standings. The Mets are now 2 games back. The Brewers did win today. The Cubs are currently playing and are up on the Padres as we bring in Chris Williamson in our panel. You got to say, Chris, the Mets are rounding into mid-September form quite nicely.
No, it's crazy because we thought a week ago they were for dead. And now we have life, as I'm joined by Kaz Famuyiwa and Rob Perez, a.k.a. Worldwide Wob of the Action Network. So we saw the Mets dominate here today. What impressed you the most about them?
Well, first and foremost, you know it's a good series when the apple breaks from too many home runs. They got tired. It was just like, no more homers. I've had enough of it. Yeah. For me, personally, I feel like I have to check back into Mets rehab because how many times, to your point, have we sworn off this team this year? And now we're back into, what's this, Godfather 3? Once I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. We're 2 games out all of a sudden. And just like that, it's been roller coaster, up, down, up, down. We're going up again. And it would be typical Mets fashion to go take 2 out of 3 from Kershaw, Ryu, and Buehler, and then go get swept in Denver by the lowly Rockies. Cautiously optimistic.
You know, for the past couple of weeks, we kind of sat here and thought the Mets were dead and Mets were going to come back. And we all think we're experts here. We don't know anything, all right? It's one of those seasons where just everything that is conventional wisdom just goes against it, and now the Mets are sitting right there with the wild card spot on the line. Marcus Stroman went out there and pitched probably the best game he's had as a New York Met.
Easily.
And, you know, gosh, Lagares was just smacking home runs all over the place. So, you know what? We got all these notes here. I don't know, man. I don't know what we're doing at this point. Like, the New York Mets, I'm just all in at this point. We're this close. They're 2 games out of a wild card spot. You might as well just go all in, man. Like, I'm super impressed with these guys. And every time you think they're out of the dumps, they're out of it. They just find a way. They just found ways every single week.
That's the beauty of baseball, is that baseball's weird, that like notes don't matter. And to the Mets' credit, a similar Mets team that had devastating losses in the past, they would have crumbled. Like the season would have been over, cancel this team, let's move on to next year. They keep getting off the mat like it's Rocky 7, Rocky 8, whatever the series is up to at this point. They keep getting up, to their credit, not very Mets-like. So give them some props.
Do you feel a little bit better about Marcus Stroman, given this start that he had? Because he had struggled earlier with the Mets.
Well, I personally, like, he wants to be on the mound and pitch. He may not have given us those A-plus performances that we were expecting him to be, this, like, Cy Young performer that he was on the Blue Jays. But the man is like, give me the ball. Like, that is the type of confidence that I trust this man, even though his statistics say I should trust other pitchers more. There's a confidence about him every time he's on the mound that makes me feel confident myself and a little bit proud, honestly, to be a Mets fan.
The conventional wisdom, just throw it out. Just throw it out. It's not making sense. If Marcus Stroman struggled for months, he's going to cook from September on. So let's just leave it with that.
Let's ride with it, baby.
Let's ride with it.
All right, if you watched last night's Mets games, you noticed the team wearing special cleats paying tribute to September 11th victims, survivors, and first responders. The idea was rookie Pete Alonso, who explained the thought process last night.
Living here, just kind of interacting with everybody. I've tried to immerse myself and just kind of the New York living, and I see kind of traces of it every single day, little bits and pieces of it, and I just want to show recognition to all the people who are just heroes, just ordinary people that just felt a sense of urgency and a admirable call of duty. So this is for all those people who lost their lives and all those people that did so much to help.
All right, well, these cleats were against Major League Baseball's uniform policy, but according to our MLB insider, Andy Martino, the league will not send down any punishment to Alonso or the Mets players for wearing them. Nice job all around. So Pete has been incredible at the place this year, but what has impressed you more, his leadership or what he's been able to do on the field, Cat?
Well, obviously, you know, if you look at a lot of sports, a lot of times the best player isn't necessarily the leader of your team. But when you get your best player to be the guy who's the face of your franchise, the guy who's taking all the press conference questions, that is leading the locker room or the dugout and everything like that, you're in a great spot. So as great as he's played on the field, the way he's carried himself as the face of the Mets, as the new face of the franchise, as a rookie, leading the league in home runs, and doing this really thoughtful thing for 9/11 and getting 9 runs and 11 hits that same game. It's that's the type of stuff that people remember, not just this season, but for seasons to come. So the leadership on the field is great, but the off the field stuff is what's really impressive to me.
Right, the leadership has developed from his performance, because if Pete Alonso had 2 homers and was batting 205, we wouldn't be talking about this cleat thing as much because he wasn't so important to the team. But guys, it was just 5 months ago that we were debating if the Mets should bring up this guy so they could have that be on the Major League roster on opening day, so they can have an extra year of control and arbitration. That was an actual conversation. Can you imagine if they didn't do that? But where we are now is that he has broken every major franchise slugging statistic probably possible, not just for a rookie, but overall, right? And most importantly, with actions like the cleats thing yesterday, he has branded himself not only as a New Yorker, but a New York Met. He has embraced what the culture, it's different here being a Mets versus a Yankees player. He has embraced what it takes to be a New York Met. And I'm thinking of a player in the past, someone like a Bryce Harper that was with the Washington Nationals. You never really felt like he was a Vegas kid that was there, and you didn't know if he was going to resign. Seeing these actions as a rookie makes you think that Alonso is in this for the long run, even as a rookie.
Yeah, and you said it before, man. I can't believe 5 months ago we were debating if he could come up from the majors for everything. And now the guy's so good, you kind of see the team and the franchise take on his personality. And that's when you have a franchise guy. That's when you have somebody you can build a team around for the next 10 or 15 years, when not only is the play of his play elevates people, but the way he carries himself is what makes this Mets team legit, where you're looking at a team that was 5 games out of the wild card a couple weeks ago, and now it's they could probably just win the whole thing. Why not? Why not? So it's incredible right now. They're in an incredible, amazing run, and I still can't believe we're even talking Mets baseball this deep into the fall.
Relevance, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, Pete Alonso, wise beyond his years. All right, ahead on the thread, the Jets will be missing Sam Darnold for at least a few weeks. How will this impact the offense? Bart Scott joins us in studio.
That's right, Chris. We also have an update from Florin Park on the health of the Jets' newest star running back. We are going all in on football next.
The Thread is brought to you by Citi. Know what else is amazing? Sending money to friends and family with Zelle on the Citi mobile app, designed for you to spend less time on it.
Change has many faces, names you'll never know. The bright-eyed, the brave, the visionaries. Where challenges exist, you'll find them. At Citi, we empower people who are out to change the world. Because tomorrow belongs to those who welcome it with open arms. Citi, welcome what's next.
I knew it. I knew Miami would never recover from that fumble. So I live bet the money line on FanDuel Sportsbook.
Oh, that's what you knew.
Yep. And with live betting, I can keep making bets even after kickoff.
Great. And there's really nothing else to know, right?
Get live betting on every game this season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Join today and get your first bet risk-free up to $500.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
Nobody burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Well, my she shed's on fire.
Your she shed was struck by lightning.
Zachary, is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
She shear?
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful news.
Home insurance trusted by more people than any other. State Farm.
Tonight, the crew looks back at the immediate impact some of the Jets' newest faces made in Week 1. Plus, the vital adjustments needed for Monday night's matchup against the Browns on Jets Game Plan, presented by Centenary University. Tonight at 6:30, only on SNY.
Welcome back. Time for the debut of Scott Free as SNY Jets analyst Bart Scott joins us here in Studio 41. What's up, Bart? Good to have you.
What up? I feel like I'm overdressed. I feel like I'm the agent for everybody around here.
No, you look great. You look great. All right, tough day for the Jets, though. You look at this upcoming schedule. You look at how they performed in Week 1.
Yeah.
Can they afford to lose Sam Darnold for who knows how long?
They can't afford to lose anybody. You look at this team, and one of the strengths is they have star power. You like Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley showed his worth, Crowder showed his worth, but they don't have any depth. And when you saw when C.J. Mosley left the field, you saw that Hewitt struggle, you saw the Cashman struggle, you saw a rookie running back run for 4 carries, 70 yards, and be able to march right down the field and take the victory, snatch the victory out of their hands. So I don't think so.
So how will the game plan change with Darnold out? We put in a guy, Trevor Siemian, who's no Sam Darnold. How do you think that'll change?
Well, he's no Sam Darnold, but he's a veteran within the system. He's a guy that's a professional. You have the weapons around. The loss of Quincy Enunwa is going to hurt because you need all hands on deck. You think about maybe using Ty Montgomery, as far as a receiver, slot guy to try and get some of their productivity. Really, I thought the player that they missed the most last week was Herndon because he was the easy throws. He was a guy that can really take up the slack a little bit. Crowder, 17 targets. I think this week he's going to get bracketed. They're going to try and take that away. He's going to have to find another target down the field.
Yeah, at least Siemian has some starting experience. Let's go over to defense, your specialty.
Yeah.
You talked about that fourth quarter collapse. How do they improve this week?
Well, it's going to be tough. First of all, they have to have some honest conversations with themselves. You know, they had a play that was to the open side, and it's a play that's a college play where they pulled 3 people and changed the math. They played that play wrong every time it came through. I talked to Jamal Adams earlier this week. He said he had never seen it before. You understand, to change the math, you have to take 2 guys out. So instead of going up and one guy trying to take on another guy, you got to cut and roll, try and get 2 for 1 so that you can have enough guys to make the tackle.
So there were a lot of weaknesses that were exposed.
Schematics,
for sure. Who did impress you, though, on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, yeah, of course, C.J. Mosley, right?
Well,
whenever we get a pick 6, Tremaine Johnson struggled, and I think they're going to have to find a way to give him help because when you think about going against a guy like Jarvis Landry, where he operates across the field, that horizontal type of route running, and that's where he struggled. Tremaine it seemed like that hamstring was hurting. He couldn't weave his way through traffic. They're going to try and have to bracket some guys and give him some help, some hole help, either what we call a rack coverage or a hole coverage. That means the safety coming down, helping anybody that gets beat across the middle because the linebackers are getting sucked up, so much in play action.
And they can't blitz as much, the safeties, with corners like that.
Yeah, man, it's a lot going on right now, man. I don't want to put up the back schedule yet, but it's getting real over there in Florham Park.
A lot going on. Yesterday, we learned about Quincy Enunwa out for the season. What kind of hit is that for this offense, Bart?
He was a guy that brought that physical presence. You talk about a big body, a big target with a good catch radius that can be a mismatch, but also because of his size at 225 as a receiver, he's a mismatch in the running game. He can overpower nickels, dime backs, and corners as well. But they brought a replacement. Early in the day, I was wondering, why did they sign Demaryius Thomas? Like, where does he fit? They knew the information that, that Enunwa was going to be available. Demaryius Thomas is a guy that's a similar type of player, maybe not as explosive as he was when he first got in the league, but his last game with the Patriots, he showed that he still can be a deep threat, and he's a smart receiver that can utilize his body because he doesn't have that short area quickness to separate anymore.
Let's move to special teams now. On a scale of 1 to 10, I know you'll be excited.
Can you kick?
A little bit.
Hey,
a little bit.
They got tryouts.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated are you with this kicking situation?
It's ridiculous, and this is all self-inflicted, right? Because they had 2 Pro Bowlers, right? They had Roberts and they had Myers. They let him go. He got a guaranteed contract for $5 million in Seattle. I bet you would think